Hi guys, I am back with my 7-week update. I cannot believe how fast time is flying. Let me get to my numbers. So I had surgery on January 4th of this year, 2017, at Banner Gateway Medical Center, and my surgeon was Dr. Albert Chin. I had to go through a 6-month supervised diet first, and so I started that program in May of last year. I was 286.8 at the start of that program. So then on my day of surgery, I was 251.8, and that was 7 months later. Today, I was 232.8, all of those 0.8s. So that means, and last week, I was 232.4. So that means that over the past week, I have gained 0.4 pounds. And I'll talk about that in a second. So since my surgery, I've lost 19 pounds in 7 weeks. And since the start of this whole program in May, I have lost 54 pounds. Now, I am what I would consider a stall, because I am a daily weigher. And so because of that, I know that I have actually been this weight for the past 11 days. And it's actually gone up from this weight, but it has not gone down except for, this is a 0.4 gain. So yeah, I was 0.4 pounds less on Wednesday, but that actually was a loss of what it had been. For several days before that, I had been at 232.8. And then on my weigh-in day, all of a sudden I was 232.4. But then it shot back up again, all the way up to 234 for some reason. And then now back down again to 232.8. So I don't know what the official definition of a stall is, like how many weeks you have to be stalled, but to me, when you're this early in the process, I know that they're very common, but to me, when you're this early out, if you've stayed the same weight or you've gained within, for a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks, to me, that's a stall. So I've pretty much been about the same weight for 2 weeks. I'm disappointed in that because I was hoping that because I've been losing weight slower, that meant that I wouldn't have a stall. I know a lot of people who lose huge amounts of weight. To me, that makes sense to have a stall for your body to catch up. I've been losing smaller amounts of weight, so I was thinking that my body is caught up, but I guess not. I guess it doesn't, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it, and I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing. I am not going to chase the numbers. At least I believe that I'm not. A lot of people say one thing in the beginning and then weeks or months later they change their mind and they say something different. I don't believe that I will change my mind, but I'm not chasing numbers. I'm going to eat the way that I'm supposed to eat, and that's going to be it. So let me talk a little bit about what I have been eating. I post most of my food on Instagram. I recently, put up a video with my salmon patties and my goat cheese meatballs. Really, those were things that I mostly ate last week or the week before last. I was just very late getting that video out. And I track and weigh every single thing. So in MyFitnessPal, I looked and I saw that for the past 7 days, my average was 758 calories on average, 76 grams of protein on average, because I've really been working on getting my protein up. My carbs have been 50, but net carbs 37. And I've been averaging around 60 ounces of water a day. So I do want to work on increasing my water because I definitely want it more up there near the 64 to 70 ounce range. So I no longer have that problem that I was having before with the water. So thankfully I'm not having the problem drinking anymore. And now I'm just focusing on drinking room temperature water instead of cold water. Even though I can drink cold water now, but the room temperature water is just still, it's more comfortable. And I wanted to mention, regular carbs versus net carbs. I do like watching the net carbs just because I think it's really important to get your fiber up really high. Even before I was suffering with constipation, I think that fiber is just a really good part of your health, and especially your colon health. Getting your fiber up dramatically reduces your risk of colon cancer. And so I don't want to be penalized for eating a lot of fiber because fiber is a carb. And so I like knowing the difference between 50 grams, like if you had 50 grams of cookies, which probably have no fiber, versus 50 grams of vegetables that have a whole bunch of fiber in them. On paper, that would look equal, 50 grams of carbs. But I don't think they act equal in your body because some is fiber and some is not. And so to me, that's why I like paying attention to my net carbs and not my overall carbs, because I'm trying to get that fiber up. So like I said, so on average, I had 13 grams of fiber a day. Coming next week, I want to make sure that that is 15 or above on average. And, as I go along, as I'm able to eat more and more foods, most of that fiber is due to the fiber supplement drinks that I'm doing, which I've showed you pictures of before. Not showed you pictures of, I've showed you the bottles. I want more and more of my fiber, of course, to come from food. And my goal eventually is to get up to 20 to 25 grams of fiber a day from food. But that's later. So this stall, I feel better now that my calories are up. My protein is up. I feel like this is, I wish my calories were even higher, but this is the highest that I can get it. So fine. Every day I'm really just trying to keep my calories between 700 and 800. I probably shouldn't have said it that way. I can't get my calories much higher than that anyway, so I'm focusing on at least having 700 calories a day, and so then it evens out to between 700 and 800 calories a day, because I really just can't even get over 800 calories, so I'm not going to worry about it until I can eat more. Then I will focus on getting my calories up even more. And I'm not going to change anything. Hopefully the scale is just going to drop on its own. Because my goal eventually is, even though of course the focus is protein first. And I love protein. I also think that fruits and vegetables are just as equally as important. And so, I have been adding in 1 serving of fruit most days. Not every single day. And, my doctor's office actually recommends 1 serving of fruit a day, no more than 1 serving. And then I'm also making sure that I have vegetables at least 1 serving a day. I try to do 2, but sometimes that's a little bit harder. So some type of vegetable at least once a day. And as I go along, my goal eventually is going to be 1 serving of fruit and at least 2 servings of vegetables a day, if not more, as I'm able to eat more and more and more. And so, even though I have the fruit in there and the vegetables in there, you can still see my carbs are not out of control. My doctor's office wants us to stay at 50 or below, and that is where I am. But that's because I'm not doing crackers or popcorn or starchy carbs or anything like that. The 1 week where I was using the Wasa crackers, I didn't have fruit during that week. And so to me, I want to balance these things out. Okay. So then the other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about, I've alluded to the fact that I am not able to really work out. And so I finally want to discuss that. I've talked about it in previous videos, but I have a lot of new subscribers, and I know you don't have time to go back and watch my old videos. So I have two bone spurs on the back of my heel. It's not really my heel, it's that area right above my heel. So like behind the ankle, if that makes sense. So that area right there, I have two very large bone spurs. Now a few years ago, actually the last time I lost a significant amount of weight, in 2013, I was working out, I was running a little bit, I was doing all these races, and I didn't know that I had the bone spurs, I didn't have any pain, but I fractured one of them. And so then it was after I had the fracture, and then I went to the doctor to see what in the world was going on, and it was treated pretty much like a regular fracture, because it is, even though it's not supposed to be there, it is a bone that's attached to my bone, and it's still getting blood and all this other stuff, and so it hurt. I had to wear a boot for about 4 months in order to repair the fracture. During that time, I was very depressed, and I ate a lot of stuff that I wasn't supposed to, and I started to regain my weight back. Only started to regain my weight back. I was really holding off for getting this boot off. So then when I finally was able to get the boot off, I was disappointed to find that I was still in great pain. I could no longer run, and I was in a lot of pain, even just walking. And then that is when I really got very depressed, and my job was changing at that time. And that's when I ended up regaining all of the weight that I had lost. So fast forward, I still have that pain every single day. And, basically the podiatrist had told me that pretty much either the pain will go away or it won't. And if it doesn't, then the only way to really make it go away is to have surgery. He doesn't push surgery for this type of thing, because he said that it's a really painful surgery and a very long recovery, because the bone spur is on the other side of my muscle. And so he has to cut through my muscle in order to remove the bone spurs. And he said it's just a very long, painful recovery. And so he really does recommend for people to do other things first if they can. And so after I heard that, really for about maybe a couple of years after that, I just didn't do anything. I walked my dogs just a little bit, and I just sat on the couch feeling sorry for myself. And I didn't even go back for steroid shots or anything like that. I prefer to avoid steroids, and I wasn't sure that it was going to even help in the first place. Let me pause this for a moment. Okay, sorry about that. So, like I said, I was avoiding going back to the podiatrist because I really didn't think that anything could be done except for surgery. However, when I started my 6-month supervised weight loss, they really stressed exercise a lot. And I realized that, I really haven't done everything that I should be doing in terms of trying to walk no matter what. So in June, I went back to the podiatrist. He did some more x-rays. We saw that my bone spur, because it has been getting worse over time, and so we saw that it had grown a little bit over time, and it also now there is a callus that's forming around it. So now that's just more bulk that was in that area behind my ankle. And so that is why, like this past year, I can't wear a closed shoe, the shoe that's closed in the back. Fortunately, I live here in Arizona, so I can wear flip-flops all year round. I have some orthotic type flip-flops that I wear, and that's it. So in June, I went to go see, okay, is there anything that can be done? And, at the time he talked to me about this laser treatment, which I don't know. I mean, I can see using the laser, and I had looked up some research like for plantar fasciitis and so for some other conditions that are just inflammatory, but I was concerned about how a laser treatment was going to help when I have an actual obstruction. There's a bone spur there that's not supposed to be there. So anyway, I went for the steroid treatment. It was extremely painful. No one's ever mentioned that. It was so painful. And then not only was it so painful, but then I was in even more pain for about 2 weeks. The pain was excruciating pain. And then when that pain finally went away, then I was better, but probably only about 60% reduction in my pain overall. So I still was able to, increase my steps and get a little bit more activity in, but that only lasted for about a month and a half before it wore off. And so then I'm like, that's not worth it. And so, after that wore off, I just haven't been doing anything at all. So I went back to the podiatrist again, just last week, to discuss, so it's the first time I'd been back to him since June. And, now I've lost all this weight, 54 pounds, and I don't notice any difference. As a matter of fact, the only difference I notice is that I'm in more pain than I was even in June. And that's really just because I have been trying to increase my activity. This injury, I keep wanting to call it an injury. It's not really an injury, although it was an injury that caused all of this to start happening. But it's the type of thing where, there are some types of pain where if you just push through the pain and then, get your workout in and then rest, then you're okay. But I have learned that this spur is the exact opposite. If I push too hard and do too much, then what happens is that then I'm in really, really, really bad pain for the next 2 or 3 days, and it's not worth it. So it's like if one day I really push myself and get 10,000 steps, then that means that the next 3 days I'm in so much pain that I can only get 1,000 steps. It doesn't really make any sense. And that area is also still painful in elliptical. Is actually even worse than walking, bikes, because everything that you do, you're flexing, you flex your foot. It's like you flex your foot and then it's flexing that area, and it's very, very painful. Despite knowing that, I still got on my elliptical a couple of times this past week. I thought, well, maybe if I just do it. One day I did it for 5 minutes, 3 times in a row. I would rest and then get back on again. And I was in so much pain the next 2 days. I could barely even, walk my dogs. But then I did it again for 10 minutes. And yeah, it was bad. And so that's why I've been avoiding working out, because working out, even though you can fight through the pain, I then pay for it for the next several days afterwards. So anyway, so I decided to go with the laser therapy this time. It cost $400 out of my pocket because it's not covered by insurance. This is the brochure that he gave me. MLS laser treatment. So, the way that it's supposed to help me is that it's going to reduce inflammation around that area without the use of steroids. Now, for other conditions, supposedly this laser, it heals damaged cells, it stimulates cellular activity. I'm not sure how much that is going to help me, even though he did say that he has another patient who has the exact same condition that I do, and that person is doing very well, and he's hoping that maybe later he'll do x-rays and show that actually the bone spur is reduced by this therapy. So that's one advantage over steroids, because steroids definitely were not going to cause the bone spur to, dissipate. So, I'm really hopeful that this treatment is going to help. And so you have to go for six consecutive therapy treatments twice a week. So today was my first day I went, and then I'm going to go back on Friday. And then next week it's going to be, it's Wednesday, Friday, every single week. It's 8 minutes. I have this laser, like shooting light. I lay on my stomach, and then the laser. Okay, stopped recording again because I was using up too much space. So first the laser shoots light at it for about 8 minutes, and then the technician comes in and then directly takes a wand from the laser and then rubs it across the area for about 8 minutes. And, actually, I don't know if it's the placebo effect, but I already felt better today after one treatment. It has really been inflamed because of the elliptical. And so now, actually today, it just feels back to normal again, back to my baseline level of pain. So I'm actually really excited. I mean, that's one treatment. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen after 6 treatments. I never thought I would actually say that I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to work out. I want to be able to even just move around without pain. What's the purpose of losing all this weight if I still can't move around without being in a huge amount of pain? I have been working out with arm weights and things, and so I'm going to continue to do that. I'm also planning on starting to do some Pilates because I like Pilates. I do not like yoga, but I do like Pilates. And so I think I'm going to start, doing that this week also. So during my next video, I will update you on what I've been doing exercise-wise, and then also how well my foot is healing. So thank you all for watching. Sorry for such a long video again. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.